Hello, welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. I hope that you're doing well. Today, I am going to be talking about some information. I want to be talking about the topic of attracting dusties, even on your level up journey, even though you're leveling up and you're still attracting dusties. I believe that there is a fallacy among the level up community regarding this particular topic. And the reason why I do is because it's just so absolute. And I think that there's nuance there. There should be more nuance. And it shouldn't be so absolute on this particular point. I've heard many women say, oh, well, if you are attracting dusties, it's because you are a low value woman, which, of course, I don't use the term low value woman. I don't use the term low value man, high value woman, or high value man, pardon, because I just think that it's too oversaturated and it's lost its meaning, and I don't there's better ways to describe what it is that we're doing and what it is that we're seeking. But I've heard that emphatic sort of condemnation over and over again from sometimes well-meaning women, but I think it's so limited. It's so limited, and there's more room for nuance. If you are attracting dusties, the thing about being a light is you're going to attract everyone. You're going to just be attractive in general. You're going to attract everyone, dusties, wealthy, everything. And who you attract um, is not a complete, full representation of who you are. And it most certainly has absolutely nothing to do with your self worth. And that is the main takeaway I want you to take away today. If you don't take away anything else from this video, is I want you to know that who you attract does not determine your complete worth. Okay, what I would like for you to do is I want you to disassociate yourself and disconnect yourself from um, all external factors when it comes to a sense of self worth. I want your sense of self worth, to come from within because of your birthright and your right to exist, and your birthright as it was given to you at birth. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, well, if I'm not attracting the right kind of person, if I'm not attracting the right kind of man, then I must not be worthy of this journey, or I must not be worthy in general. That is counterproductive, and it's counter to the work, the real work at hand, which is transforming your self worth and helping you to utilize your gifts and beauty to attract and create the world that you would like to have around you, and to create and attract the lifestyle that you desire. There's a number of reasons why you may be attracting dusties that is not a condemnation on who you are as a person. And I think that the number um, one of the most important factors is your environment and where you choose to go and where you choose to spend your time. Um, Sometimes if you are in certain environments, people think that you are um, one of them, or they just assume that you are available for them to interface with you because you're there. And so that's going to be a way to decrease the numbers of dusties that is attracted to you, is to move your environment. So don't go where dusties go. This is probably the hardest. Um, this is probably the hardest for young women, because you want to be cool and you want to be hip and you want to be in some of these parties and whatever else places that these guys are going. However, you're also putting yourself in the line of fire. And I think that we can say, I mean, I don't know about you all, I don't know about you ladies, but the number of casualties and injuries that I have been like the stories that I've been getting. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I'm back, y'all. I was wondering if I was going to be able to get through this live without being interrupted, but clearly no. My daughter has a guest over this weekend, or rather today, this evening, like a little friend that's going to spend the night. So I thought that they would kind of entertain each other and I could get through this live, but I see I'm going to have to still deal with some interruptions. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh, yes, I was talking about these casualties and injuries from women being at the wrong place at the wrong time. So not only will this information, as far as not being in those negative environments, some of these ratchet parties, ratchet neighborhoods, um, hood stuff, even stuff around college campuses. You may not like for example, when I was in college, I'll tell you, I had a lot of older friends. One of my good, like I had like at least two friends that were literally senior citizens. One woman had gone back to college to get her degree because she raised her kids and she never had a chance to go to school. Her name was Lori. I'll never forget. Her name was Lori. And she actually went back to school to get her degree. So I'm like early 20s and she's like in her 60s, retired from AT&T, gone back to school. And she and I became good friends and we would run together and we would grab lunch or we'd grab coffee or we'd study together. And she was just the coolest person. So I guess I'm kind of a weirdo in that have always been attracted to more calm environments. But honestly, there's been a lot of violence around college campuses. So for you ladies who are younger and if you're in college, I really want you to evaluate your circle of friends. A lot of times you will have girlfriends who are at your age and y'all are both going to school and you're attempting to better yourself and you're attempting to get your education. But a lot of times your friends might be dating thugs and hoodlums who are still kind of like in the streets. And even some of these student athletes have a ratchet mentality of their mind. You know, they're there because they are good at some type of athletic, maybe basketball, football, but their mindset is extremely ratchet, ghetto, even though they have an opportunity to really level up and better themselves. Their mindset is they're not there for education and they're not there for, you know what I'm saying? Like they just still on a ratchet vibe. So this is especially important for you younger ladies in college to be thinking about your environment and your friends. If your friend's boyfriend is hood, you're probably going to want to distance yourself from her because you could be the unintended target of something that had nothing to do with you. And you're like, well, oh, I'm leveling up. But you can't level up if you're friends with someone who has like a ratchet boyfriend. There's been too many stories that I've read of the friend of the friend who's getting beat by the guy trying to break up the fight, and she's the one who gets taken off the face of this planet. So you really want to do a deep dive on your friend circle and make sure that everybody within your circle has the same mentality and um that you're not going to be putting yourself at risk. It's not worth it. I promise you all these parties are the same. It's the same music, the same people, the same fashion overdresses, the same Victoria's Secret body spray. Like you are not missing anything. And you need to be able to like get out of college alive and actually be able to, start pursuing your career. So move strategically and be willing to befriend people who you wouldn't necessarily think would be a good friend. One of the bonuses about being in college and being a young person in general is that people are willing to help you. You can email someone at a company, of your field, or email an alumni randomly, that's in a career field that you want to be in, and people will respond to you for no other reason than the fact that you're in college, and be willing to meet with you for 15 or 10 or 15 minutes over coffee to give you some information or connect you somewhere. So I say all that to say, you can utilize your college status, um, you can utilize your college status strategically so that you put yourself in position to win, and make sure that you are looking at any liabilities within your circle. Who is that one friend that keeps on bringing Ratchet Tyrone around? What is that one or two friends that always wants to go to the violent part of town, or always wants to go to the ghetto complex, apartment complex where people are riding in and out and there's a lot of like nefarious movement? Who are those people? And why don't they care about themselves? Why aren't they trying to secure themselves? Ask yourself that, because if they are themselves not trying to put themselves in a safe environment, what makes you think that they care about your safety? Who's that one friend that every time y'all go out, she drinks too much or she pops a pill and she don't even know where she got it from, and now she's acting crazy? Like, who's that one liability? Who are those liabilities in your circle that you need to eliminate? I mean, for your own benefit. One thing that I have been teaching on this channel since the beginning, it's a core belief here, is that you need to be self-serving. And self-serving is not equivalent to selfish, although selfish in and of itself is not a bad thing. You need to be self-preserving, and that means that you put your own well-being and safety over the fact of a friendship. The friendship is only as good as its value to your life. Otherwise, having a friend because y'all grew up together, or having a friend because y'all live in the same dormitory, or having a friend because y'all are from the same neighborhood, or having a friend because her mama knows your mama, or having a friend because y'all went to the same church, none of that matters. Those are not valid reasons to have a friend. A friend is someone who puts your well being in high regards. A friend is someone who respects your boundaries. A friend is someone who wants the best for you. A friend is someone who respects you and cares about you. So that is not bound by blood. That is not bound by affiliation. That is not bound by, wherever it is that you grew up. There's qualities of a friend that you really have to kind of sit down and look at each and every person. Now, bringing all of this back to this whole "are dusties attracted to you" situation is, who are you around? Because if you are leveling up, but your friend is still ratchet, and she is dealing with ratchet guys, and then the friends of that ratchet guy is going to look at you as a possibility. Why? Because of your friend and the way your friend carries herself. So your friends are also a reflection of who you are as a woman, you see. So that is another reason, that's something that you can change. That's something that you can change. It's within your sort of sphere of control, is that you can change your affiliation, you can change your environment. Another little thing that has helped me, I think also just me becoming more mature has helped as well. Just looking, uh, just being older, has helped. But even if I'm in like a situation, usually when I come into contact with someone who would be considered quote dusty, they're usually in a service capacity. You know what I mean? Like they're working on my car, or they are valeting my car, or they are a wait staff, they are a bartender, they are a security guard, they are a doorman, they are a concierge, they are something in the service industry. And so it's always very clear that I'm a patron, and so I am kind and I am cordial and I'm polite to everyone, because I don't think being snooty and looking down on people, that is not an attractive quality. And especially when you are with a man, or if you are with group of friends or whatever, you just never know who you may meet. You don't really want to look down on people or act like you're high or mighty or anything like that. Not to mention, kindness and politeness can really grant you favor when you're going to various different places. So there's no reason to be aggressive or rude to people who might be dusty outside of their work sort of role. Because I mean, I've noticed that sometimes maybe a guy might be dusty on his personal time, but while he is a valet, he knows how to do his job. Okay. And so he's not being dusty in that moment. And so within our brief interaction of me doing what I need to do, being kind and just talking to people as though you know that you're grateful for their service to you. So the gratitude of their service to you help solidify the dynamic of how are we interacting with each other. You are being of service to me, and I'm grateful for the service that you're providing. Here's a tip, here's the whatever. And so it's a transactional type of thing. And so it's very clear that, like, he's not going to approach you, right? Because he sees what you're doing. You're going to this expensive place or you're in this expensive environment that he's working in, and if he were to take a date somewhere, he wouldn't be taking her where you're going. So it's kind of implied that you are not an option. You're not an option, you know. So make sure you're dressing the part as well. You show up in a strappy fashion over dress, you look like someone he would date anyway. So he might get confused and still try to approach you. So dress the part, act the part, be the part, and limit, you sort of decrease your chances of Dusty's approaching you. Okay. So environment, dress, friends, network, what other things, how you interact, like how you carry yourself, simple things like the way the vocabulary that you use sets you apart from ratchet girls. You know, it just does instantly. You could take the most beautiful woman, and this is what sets the level up women apart and the educated women apart, is that when you open up your mouth and an advanced vocabulary spews out of your mouth, you immediately communicate that you are not an option. You are not an option. And this is something that I haven't had to learn that much, just because I think about like my education and my background, but I know that there are some women who feel like they have some area to grow. They have some room to grow in the area of diction, pronunciation, vocabulary, and speech in general, like cadence and uh, voice control. And if that's something that you need to work on, definitely work on it. I don't believe that accents in and of themselves, sort of exclude you from being considered to be a refined woman. Rather, you have like um, a New England accent, a Southern accent, a Midwestern accent, a Canadian accent, a Caribbean accent, etc. I don't think that accents in and of themselves would say, oh, you need to get rid of your accent. I wouldn't. That's too much to try to get rid of your accent. If you're a Southern woman, it is what it is. There's a lot of charm in that. If you are a Midwestern woman, it's okay. There's a lot of charm in that. If you're a New Englander, a New Yorker, there's a lot of charm in that. It's about refining what it is that you have, because your accent really makes you a unique woman. It's about refining your accent and making it articulate and expanding your vocabulary. And you might start a little at a time, like learning how to say the wines correctly on the wine menu helps. Knowing how to order your food, there's a way to do it that sets you apart from other people, like people who are refined versus people who are not. So I learned this a long time ago when I was in my early 20s, and I was working at my first job. So there's a woman there who told me, like, when you go to the table and you order, you know, the average Joe says, "Can I have a this or that?" As though they're asking, "Is it possible for me to have these things?" Refined people say, "I'll have the steak medium rare." They're just saying what it is that they want because, of course, they can have it. So it's not a question, it is just a matter of declaration. So even little small tweaks like that set you apart into where you will communicate to dusties that you are not an option, and you also show those who you want to be an option for that you are a refined woman. Okay. Now, these are all things that you can actively do, because I think that I have witnessed women get so overwhelmed with feeling as though, oh, I'm not attracting the kind of man I want. I don't fit in these places, or I don't fit in, and I can never have a better man. I could never find a provider. Here's evidence, and they're always like finding all this evidence to back up these claims that they can't have a better life, or they can't get a better man. They can't get a refined date. To this day, how long has this channel been around? 3 years or 2.5 years or something? To this day, there's still women that I've known of at the beginning of this journey, at the beginning of this channel rather, that had never been like on a really nice date and had never received a gift outside of like Christmas or their birthday. And it still continues on to this day. And they would attribute to like, oh, it's me. There's something inherent about me that I'm not getting these things, and I don't have access to this, and it's just not for me. And so they kind of like have resigned mentally to just being kind of like in a dusty, like low achieving dynamic, or, finding a guy that maybe makes as much as them. And like that's like the high standard in their mind. Meanwhile, the truth is, there are things that you can tweak to make it better for yourself. There are things that you could tweak actively that have nothing to do with your value, because your value and your worth is the inherent essence that like you deserve the best in life, and that doesn't change no matter what you have going on. Even if you're not living up to this ideal, the ideal persists. The ideal is, it's, omnipresent. The idea that you deserve best, you are worth an immeasurable amount of resources and all the things that the earth and the universe have to give you. That idea is unchangeable, unmutable, omnipresent. Now, whether you tap into it is all up to you. How you express it is up to you. How you analyze what's going on in your life and troubleshoot and start practicing. Practicing. I'll tell you a little story today. One thing that I'm working on is being more positive. I really, y'all, I had no idea. As positive as I am, there still was so much room for me to become yet more positive. And as I interface with more women in general, like specifically women, it's even more important that I be positive, just because there's room for things getting back to someone else that was misconstrued. There's room for, offending this one or offending that one, or you just like, there's just all this room for things to go awry. It's better to just be positive. No one has to know necessarily everything that's on your mind. If you really like something or you didn't, you could probably find something honestly positive about most anything. So I've been practicing doing better at that on all levels. So today when I went to the grocery store, so my daughter, I went to go pick up her friend. I picked her up from camp, then I went to go pick up her friend. We went to the grocery store, and they were kind of running. It's kind of hard for me to corral them. I wanted to get in and get out of the grocery store as fast as possible. And so when I'm checking out to the counter, the lady was like, "Oh, they're so cute." I said, "Oh, thank you. Yes, they're cute. They're very sweet." She says, "Yes, they're sweet." She's like, "They look like they're giving you, a hard time. You know, are they really rambunctious or something?" She says, and I was like, "You know what? They're really sweet. I'm just gonna focus on that." And we smiled and we laughed. I checked out and I left. And I had to kind of give myself a pat on the back. Why? Because it is my intention to practice that particular maneuver all the time and in every single instance, so that it becomes a bit of second nature. So it could be something like you go to a party, let's say the chicken was dry, and someone asks you what you feel about the chicken, what did you think about the meal? You could tell that person, oh, the chicken was dry. You could say that because it's true, the chicken was dry. Or you could say, I'm so grateful that Sally invited me to this dinner. I enjoyed meeting everyone. This was just I'm so grateful for this invitation. It's been a wonderful experience. She's such an amazing host and such a warm heart. You see, both things are true. The chicken was dry, but also Sally was an amazing host. You get to kind of choose which one of those things you're going to focus on, because if you're meeting this person that maybe you do or do not know well, and you tell Sheila, oh yeah, the chicken was dry, and then she tells Marianne, and then it gets back to the lady that made, oh yeah, she thought the chicken was dry. Maybe you get less invitations. You see, so um, I'm saying that to say that the level up continues, the refinement continues. It continues once you identify things that you can tweak in your life that are within your sphere of influence. You can start working on them and you can start practicing. So if it is the vocabulary, for example, you can listen to audiobooks. They're an amazing way to get introduced to vocabulary within the context of like a literary context, in which you can just sort of absorb these words better, and then they can become a part of your everyday speech. Learning how to order at the menu, working on your posture, working on being polite, working on being charming, all of these things, you know, doing some tweaks in your wardrobe, refining your makeup routine to be more elegant, um, working on your enunciation. All of those things are within your sphere of influence that you could start doing, picking and choosing where you go, picking and choosing how to make friends. Um, Maybe we'll do another, we may do another, I'll probably do another live specifically on making friends, because I think that that continues to be challenging, I think, in today's age. And especially just depending on like where you live in the country, where you live in the world, it can be more easier or more difficult to do it. But I have done it. I've made several new friend groups over the years, and so I've definitely have experience in making new friend groups as an adult. Okay, it's not that easy, but it's very possible to do, because all that counts when it comes to attracting the quality that you want and decreasing the instances of attracting the quality that you do not want. I don't think that there will ever be a time where you will completely eliminate all chances of a dusty approaching you. I don't think that that is ever going to happen. It's always possible, because some guys have an attitude of like, no, it's a numbers game, and so they're just going to shoot their shot to anyone, even if they know that they're shooting way above their weight class. They're still going to try. And so the main message is that I don't want you to take that and internalize it as though something is wrong with you, because it's not about something is wrong with you. Sometimes it just is what it is, and you're just kind and polite, and you just move on, right? And then uh, sometimes there's something that you can change. Sometimes there's some type of tangible reason, or some type of tangible, instance of why, and you could change it. You could start working on it. The importance is that you find it and you start practicing the behavior that you want, practicing how you want to show up in the world. Because I saw online once, I was talking about this particular community that's really dusty, and um, not BMs, but a different ones that are just dusty and very kind of low effort. And this woman was like, "Oh, no, they're not. It's probably you, because you look like this or you look like that. Keep in mind, I'm anonymous, but whatever. Oh, it's probably because you look like this and you look like that, and so that's why they talk to you like that. But if it was someone else, they would talk to someone else. Hold on, now." Okay, I'm about to wrap it up anyway, because they're getting a little antsy. okay, so yeah, so this woman was saying, oh, it's probably you. If it was someone from his own community, he would be totally different. Or, oh, if it was da 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 da, then he would be doing things the right way. And it was so interesting because randomly, as I was scrolling through the dating app, I saw like three different guys from this community, all with like dusty profiles, talking about wanting to go to the park and wanting to somebody that was low maintenance. Well, they didn't say low maintenance. I think they said something like down to earth and chill, and someone who is not. I don't know if they said fancy or think they were like low key, low vibe or something. I don't know, but it was like three different profiles that were all saying, "Hey, I'm dusty. Hey, I'm low effort." And this is something that these males created to put out into the world, and it's going to every woman, right? It's not like this profile was created specifically for me or created specifically for any woman in general. This is the profile that they chose to create, and this is the image that they wanted to put out into the world. Hey, I want to take you to the park. I want to go hiking. I want to have coffee. I want someone low maintenance. I want someone low effort. I don't like fancy things. You see what I'm saying? So leave this the woman. I mean, I don't know, child. I let women think what it is that they want to think, and I don't really like. I don't argue with dusties. I don't argue with pick me's. I don't argue with mammies. I don't argue with nary one of them. But I know that I received affirmation within that next second that these guys are just dusty. Okay, my assessment is stands correct, and I have evidence to back it up. Not just these three profiles that I saw immediately after this conversation, but I have a long slew of instances and experiences and profiles that I can go look up to this day that validate what it is that I am saying. So, in conclusion, um, understand that there are things that you can do to decrease your attraction or like the attraction that dusties have to you. There are things that you can do to decrease that attraction, to decrease their audacity to approach you. There are things that you can do to clearly set a line that I am of a different ilk and you shouldn't, there makes no sense for you to approach. There are things that you can do tangibly and you can start practicing them today if you would like, to help set yourself apart and put yourself in a different caliber of people. You could start that now. No matter what you do, there's nothing that you could do 100% that's going to eliminate the possibility of dusties approaching you. It may still happen. Another thing I want you to remember is that being kind, polite, having good diction, having good vocabulary, and smiling actually helps you. Because a lot of ratchet women have a stank face and have a stank like presence about themselves, and it actually attracts dusties. So when you have good posture and you hold your head up high and you are kind and you smile at people and greet people, it actually makes you more unattainable to dusties, believe it or not. So don't think that being rude and callous is going to be the answer because it is not. And that's all I got. Ain't got no more about this particular topic. Please put any comments, questions that you may have in the comment section, and let's have a great dialogue about this. Y'all have a great day. And then also finally, attracting a dusty being attracted to you is not an indictment on your self worth. All right, y'all have a blessed day. Bye.